Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. Today's game we have made by Rapid Leaf Productions, and it is called Magmeda Monsters, although some people would call it Magmeda, I suppose. This game is 2 players, about an hour, 2 hours to play, and you gotta be at least 12 and up to play the game. Now, Magmeda Monsters is basically a game where you have a monster deck, and your opponent has one as well, and you have 2 opposing factions. The 2 factions in the game are the Oppression deck and the Liberation deck. There might be more in the Kickstarter, I don't know, but these are here in the prototype. And the idea is one side is kind of got the monsters that are more dangerous and evil, and the other side's the light side, and they're like the more healing intensive and strategy orientated monsters. And players are going to be playing a monster during their turn, for their first turn and for their backup turns, and attacking back and forth and trying to basically destroy all of their opponent's monsters on the field. Now, this is a game that's similar to games like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering and those kind of things, but it's a 2-player game that goes back and forth. It's not collectible, it's a simple card game that gives you the 2 specific decks. Alright, so let's go ahead and check out Magmeda Monsters. Alright guys, so this is a setup for Magmeda Monsters. And like I was saying before, you have 2 different types of decks. You've got the Liberation deck and the Oppression deck. We'll go ahead and set these aside. These will be our discard piles right here, our skill piles here, and our monster piles here. They have tokens that represent where they're supposed to be. And in each deck, you've got skill cards and monster cards. And you got a full deck of all these different types of monsters and all these different types of skills that all go along with the monsters. In the beginning of your turn, after setting up all of your different card sets, your tokens, your turn marker, as well as the turn table that goes throughout the game until you complete a round, as well as some other various tokens that can be used, such as heads and tails flippers. Well, then, after you've have everything set up, you just simply draw 6 cards from the top of every single deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the monster stack here, and 6 from the skill pile here. And you would do the same thing on this side as well, and each player would get those 12 cards into their hand. And these would be the 12 cards they actually get to keep throughout the first round of the game. Alright, after you've drawn your 12 cards, you get your 6 monster cards and your 6 skill cards. These are the cards you're going to be using throughout the round. And there's a total of 3 rounds in the game. The person who wins 2 out of 3 wins, and the person who kills all of their opponent's monsters on each round is going to be the winner of that round. For your first turn, you simply choose a monster from your hand, place it down face down in front of you, and your opponent does as well, and then you both simultaneously flip it over. Whoever goes first, their monster can't attack. However, on your turn, there's certain actions that you can do. You can use magic on your monster, you can use an active ability on your monster, and you can play your skill cards. And you can play any of those actions that you so choose. After you're done playing your actions, then the final step is to attack, and all your monsters must attack if able. Alright, so let's go ahead and show you exactly how to do the first couple actions. Alright, so it's the first turn, and the turn marker has been placed here, which says skill cards cannot be played on this round, and neither can your monsters attack, at least for the first player. Afterwards, players will flip their monsters over, and you'll see the 2 different types of monsters. Alright, let me go ahead and show you what these kind of monsters do. So you've got their health, their attack, you've got their magic ability here at the bottom, and you've got their defense. Magic can be used, interestingly enough, on any of these other stats, and they get bonuses from these stats here. So if I were to use Crytondix's magic, I could put 20 onto any of these stats. So maybe I'd put his defense at 45. So whenever he would attack this one, it would be damage subtracted from defense equals loss of health, just like any other basic game. Alright, so monsters are placed face up like this, and now the player, maybe it will be this player's turn who goes first, he would then select cards he wants to use. So he could do certain things like this one here. This is an assault formation, which means that there's certain different character types. You've got this green symbol and this brown, gray, and an attack symbol that you can increase by 50 until the end of turn. Maybe actually you want to use the Aura of Heavens. This one says the equipped monster's defense is 0, but if the equipped monster be damaged from any attack by fire or by shadow, decrease that damage by 100. So it protects the monster pretty well. Remember though, after you use your skill cards, that's it, you've burned through them, unless you're able to obtain them from drawing due to these skill cards or monster abilities. So be aware of that. After your first player would go and he would not be able to attack, it would then be the next player's turn, and he would play his skill cards, as well as maybe monster abilities that can be found here, and all monsters do different things, and he would attack. Now you need a paper and a pen whenever you're going to do damage, because I don't have any tokens that I know of right now. So you would have to say, okay, 125 attack into this guy here who only has 25 defense. We do 100 damage to him, bringing him to 25 health. And then after that, the next turn would begin. Alright, so in Magmeda Monsters, obviously you're going to have 6 monsters in your hand to start the game. Now realize that every time you lose a monster, it gets removed from the field, you have to put a new one out. And on your backup turn, you can also put monsters out. And also, after all 6 of your monsters have been removed from your hand or removed from the field, that's when all your monsters have been depleted, that's when you lose the round. And if you do that 2 out of the 3 rounds that you play, that's when the game is over. And it's going to be based on this turntable as to whether or not you're going to want to place monsters out multiples at a time, or simply let your opponent kill off one at a time until all of your monsters from your hand has been depleted. Also be aware, the discounted card from your hand also counts as that loss of that monster for the game. Alright, so everything is going to explain, especially the turns and attacking. However, there are these things called backup turns, like I was saying. Now, on a backup turn, you have 2 different options that you can do. You can either place another monster from your hand face up onto the field in front of you, or you could draw a backup spell card, which is cool. You can use these skill cards, and you can draw up to 2 at any point in the round. However, every time you deplete one of these cards from your skill deck, that's going to mean you have less of these to pull from later on in the following rounds, so be aware of that. Otherwise, you would simply just play another monster from your hand, and you would have 2 monsters out. Now remember, it's important to keep as many monsters as you can on the field for as long as possible, because if you have no monsters on the field, you lose the round, and if you lose 2 rounds out of the 3, you lose the game. That's the basic idea of a backup turn, and you get these progressively through the game on this little turntable here. So you've got the first one is obviously you can't play skills and you can't attack. Backup turn, so there's 5, 6, 7, 8 out of the 18 turns. That's the basic idea of the game, and that's how you play Magmeda Monsters. Alright, let's see what I think about it. Alright, so Magmeda Monsters is a fairly interesting game, and it's difficult for me to pinpoint how well I like it on a spectrum. There's a couple reasons why. First of all, I think this game needs a lot more tokens, especially if you're going to be doing damage. I also don't like the idea of there being different health points and different numerations of over 10. Honestly, it should have either 100 health, 50 health, 30 health. It shouldn't be 125 or 5 or 25. It makes me have to write on a piece of paper, which I don't like as well. Those ideas, those kind of points in the game kind of irritate me, where Magic the Gathering kind of gets it more right. This is simply you're going to have that much health lost at the end of the round, and you have to keep track of it all on a piece of paper. It's not too difficult, but it's just kind of irritating, and I think they definitely need to fix that in the Kickstarter, if they don't already. Another thing about the game is the artwork. The artwork is really nice. If you like cartoony style artwork, it's pretty cool. They're all different kind of like splashy, elegant, and yet luminous. That's a good word for them. Luminous pictures. They're all very light orientated, whereas the dark, nasty, evil guys are all fire or brimstone or nastiness. You know, the art's pretty good. I like that. You've also got these little tokens which represent discard and skill piles. They're not really necessary. I prefer to have tokens that involve life. The turn marker is good. I like the idea of the turntable, as well as the fact that you can put additional monsters out. I enjoy the fact that you have the option of either drawing more skill cards, but you suffer from drawing them because you actually not get to use them in later rounds. What I've also noticed about the game is that one of the decks seems a little more difficult to use than the other one, but the payoff is bigger. So this light deck over here, it has a bunch of monsters that all work together. They all kind of group up together. And they all kind of work with like the gods. There's like 3 gods in this deck, and basically if you can summon them with the main god in play and you play a card, it does a whole bunch of craziness. And it's fairly difficult to get those in play though, because you only get 6 monsters to start with, and if you don't have those combinations in your hand for the first round or second round, or maybe you lose a couple of them in the first 2 rounds and you only have 1 or 2 in the next round, it's not going to benefit you as much. So just be aware of that. The evil deck, or the nasty deck, is actually really good as far as attacking goes. It's got a lot of cool abilities, got a lot of cool skills. I really do like the game, the way it's made, the idea of it, but I think there's a lot of other better games out there. Now that being said, you shouldn't be detracted from buying this game if you like games that are similar, monster battles where you're going back and forth, and it's a 2-player game, and it is about an hour to an hour and a half long to play, maybe even up to 2 hours, which can be pretty lengthy for a 2-player game, but it also could be something you really want to do because you've got a lot of time to spend. And this game is very small, and you can place it pretty much wherever you'd like. Also, you've got these little tokens here, the heads or tail chits. It's a good idea. I like the idea of flipping coins. It does make it a little random, just like drawing the cards is a little random. And there are differences that can benefit you to change that up. Anyway, that's the idea from Magmeda Monsters. I would say it is a decent game, and if you like games like this, you'll probably like this one as well. Alright guys, thanks for watching another Unfiltered Gamer card game review. If you like this video and you want to see more, go ahead and check us out here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment. Also, if you like Magmeda Monsters and you're interested in checking this game out on Kickstarter, go ahead and find it in the link below. As well as checking out our website, unfilteredgamer.com. We've got tons of giveaways and tons of other stuff. In fact, we've even got the Mr. Game, which is our previous video. That giveaway is actually coming out in the next 2 or 3 days, so be aware of that. As well as checking out our affiliates, everythingboardgames.com and The Giveaway Geek. Alright guys, that's enough for this video, and I will see you again.